In this section, I want to start a new environment and talk about metal sheets. So I go to Start menu to Mechanical Design, and I can find Generative Sheet Metal Designs here. If I click on this, I will be presented with a dialog box that asks me about the parameter, and if I'm not presented with that, I can go to Insert menu and select it from Sheet Metal Parameters. Now, in this environment, I want to have some default radius, some thickness that is going to be, again, the default thickness that's going to be applied to the shapes that I want to create here. And I want to have the thickness about 2 mm and the default bend radius about 5 mm. I can go to bend extremities and select the different types of bendings and reliefs and things that I want to have. I can open this submenu and see default bendings here. I can change this as I wish whenever I'm working with the tools, so I'm not going to work with this right here. But the K factor is the thing that I'm interested in this, because the metals that I'm working with are not the standard metals. Of course, I can select the formula whenever I want, but I want to deactivate the formula here. Of course, again, I can change the formula by editing this. I can go to select the range for this K factor, an inferior and a superior, range. But I want to go to formula and deactivate it because I want to have my own K factor that's going to be 3.3 and clicking on OK. And I can see that the sheet metal parameters are applied to whole part body. So whatever I create will, select the parameters from this parameters that I have applied to the whole part body. The first thing that I want to do is to create a wall, and that's kind of, a sheet metal. So I go to XY plane, go to sketch environment, and I want to have a rectangle as a simple shape here. So I select the constraint tool and make sure that this is about 600 millimeters. So I type in 600. And again, select this and make sure that this is about 1200 millimeters. And let's zoom out a little bit because this is not in my design environment. And let's deactivate the grid for the moment and add some constraints here. Select this, press Ctrl, select this, and select the center line as the symmetry line. And do the same for these lines. So I have this center to my shape, and this is fully defined. And let's go to Insert menu and go to Walls, and the simplest wall tool is the Wall tool here. I click on Wall, and you can see that there is no thickness here because the default thickness is going to be taken from the sheet metal parameters here. So I click on OK. Now I have a sheet metal that is 2 mm thick. So the next sketch is going to be on this surface. So I click on the surface and go to sketch environment. Again, I want to have, let's zoom in a little bit. I want to have the inside of this. I'm going to create the wash basin for the kitchen. So I go create a rectangle here. And I want to have 90 millimeters of distance between these two lines. So I type in 90 here and select the constraint. This is going to be 15 millimeters away from this line. So I type in 15 here, and the same is going to be applied here, 15. So I type in 15 here, and 25 is going to be applied here. So this is going to be 25 millimeter, or 20, no, that's okay, 20 is okay. And now I exit my workbench. The second thing that I want to do is to have a stamp here. So I go to Insert, go to Stamping, and the simplest one is the surface stamp that I want to have. I can change the parameters, and you can see a preview of the parameters in the right pane. I want to have parameters choice of angle. The angle A is going to be for 30 degree. The height is going to be 20 millimeters. So I type in 20 here. I'm not going to specify any limit here, so I do not touch this. But the radius is going to be 10 millimeter. 2 is very, very little. So that's it. Radius 1, 10, radius 2 is 10, and I click on OK. Now you can see the stamp is applied to my shape. Now I have a sunken area here. I click on this to create the third sketch. I go to sketch environment, and the first thing that I want to create is a rectangle, and I want to have round corners there. So again, I create this rectangle like this, and click on corner tool, select this edge, press escape again, because I selected the line mistakenly. I select this edge again, click here, again the corner tool, this edge, and click here, and all the radiuses are going to change because I want to have about 75 millimeters of radius in them. So I type in here 75, double click this 75, again double click this 75, and this one is going to be 75 too. The radiuses are going to change to 75. Now I want to select the constraint tool, select this line and this line. These two are going to be 350 millimeters. So I type in 350 and select this constraint tool and select this and this line. These two are going to be 360 millimeters away. So type in 360. The next thing that I want to do is to add two more constraints to my shape. That's going to be this and this. These are going to be 140. So I type in this and select this. And this line from the inner line, that is the inner line, they are going to be 25 millimeters, I guess. And that's it. Now I have a fully defined shape. I want to have the same shape near this, but before that let's make this 380, and that's better, I guess. Okay, now I have everything defined. I want to have the same shape near this, so I exit my workbench, and the easiest way is to create this is to copy this sketch and paste it on part body. And you can see that there is a new sketch, that is sketch 4. I double click sketch 4. Now by changing this value, I want to deactivate this 25 millimeter. And now I select the constraint tool, select this line and select this edge, that is the other edge. And make sure that this is about 480 millimeters. I click on OK. Now you can see the exact copy of the first shape is here, and this is 480. I can of course change it to 478. That's 2 millimeters less, and I want it to be like this. So everything is okay until now. I exit my workbench, and again I'm going to select the surface stamp tool from stamping submenu. And this is for sketch 4. I want to have about 85 degrees here. So I type in 85. Again, the type is angle. The height is going to be 150 millimeters. So I type in 150 here. And this is going to be 10 millimeter for radius 1 and 15 millimeter for radius 2. Everything is done. I click on OK. Now you can see this applied to this shape. Again, now I select the sketch 3. Now by selecting this, again I go to insert menu, go to stamping and select the surface stamp, and I applied the same parameters to this sketch. So I click on this. Now you can see that my shape is created like this. Now in the next section I want to talk about more tools, and I want to complete my wash basin more.